Have you ever thought about shifting with your ankle? Well, as of right now, the best rider in the US is doing that exact technique. Notice that he is in this pocket here between your foot pegs and the levers. It's to hold you in place so when that motorcycle shoots forward, you have a strong line of stability here where you're not going to get pushed back. You can stay forward and still squeeze the motorcycle with your knees and keep your arms relatively loose. But notice that he stays inside that pocket. And I'm assuming these guys are starting in second, third gear. So the next shift that he has, he's just lifting up. This is something that you should practice. I do have a tutorial out on this as well on my channel. But notice, and this is a dude that got the whole shot this actual moto. Boom. Lifts up, and then he'll put his feet on the foot pegs. We'll watch that again. Boom. Where you're using the buckle to shift up. You're not actually using your toe. This is a portion on the backside of the track on the top of the hill where Deegan actually drags the entire rear brake around this left-hander. Watch how he uses the rear brake as a foot peg. He just starts with it. He's braking and then he just transitions, leaning to his pelvic bone and everything right onto that gas cap and just holds onto that rear brake. So that way he can stop if he needs to readjust, because you'll notice that some riders will use the front brake and the rear brake to pivot the motorcycle. If they're hopping out of a rut, they'll just stop real quick so that they can then point in a different direction and go. But watch this rear tire. Boom, lock up, and then continues to go, and he is still on that rear brake. He doesn't get off of it until he starts accelerating right there. Boom, is when he actually got off that rear brake. You can see his foot. So he drug around the entire corner, just barely as a small little drag, then to a slam to readjust, back to coasting, then off and accelerating. The next couple clips are to prove to you that these riders just go from A to D when they're transitioning to something. They're not going A, B, C, D. What I mean by that is they're not like, okay, stand up, sit down, lean forward, leg out, then hands on the levers. It's just one fluid motion. They're literally going from A to D. And watch, ironically, Deegan off one of these tunnel rollers, how he's going from standing to a little bit of a scrub, to then leg out, sit down, getting on the gas. Real subtle, but it's quick because you're doing multiple things, right? And is something that's easy to practice. And then if we watch Tom Vial on top of the hill, he's doing the same thing, but just in a different section. There's this gnarly step up, and he goes to sit down, leg out, boom. So he can brake real quick and then get on the gas. There wasn't stand, sit down, leg out. It all happened in one fluid motion. This was probably my favorite technique of the entire race. You've got Hunter Lawrence and then Ferris. And in order to get this pass done, Hunter actually wheelies over some braking bumps and then he'll hop. Notice how he lands, compresses, lifts that front wheel to get over some of these gnarly big holes where Ferris hits those and the bike slows him down because they're just big bumps, right? Hunter wheelies over him. Bike doesn't hit him. Notice the suspension. Boom. Slows him down. Wheelies over. Then Hunter will literally jump over the next one. And boom. He literally caught up 3 bike lengths from there. Going from behind to in front. That was just spectacular. Each time you watch this, you'll see something new from both riders. The most technical jump on the track was this hip jump, where a lot of riders were triple singling or double doubling, depending upon if you're going inside, outside. Well, Jett was just going outside, quick little seat bounce, quad from outside to inside. And man, he looked good doing it. And speaking of looking good, if you're looking for his kit, you can use the Pure Moto network. If you just go to alpinestar.com, you can find out that he is wearing this plush gear. You can shop the Techstar gear. And boom, go, hey, I want to look like Jett Lawrence here. Oh man, sold out online. Well, you can click Find My Store, and this right here is actually the Pure Moto network in order to find where it's closest to you. And doing so, you can help local businesses out by buying stuff locally. It's pretty spectacular. They're also partnered with Dunlop and Renthal. The network is much larger than people realize. Kind of like last weekend, Star Yama was cutting tires. This weekend, they're cutting jerseys. You can see Hayden Deegan's jersey has a bunch of slits in it, even though this gear is already perforated to help with airflow. They wanted a little bit more because it's a hot race, but I thought it was interesting that they went a little bit further and they cut all over it, just to help keep the riders cool. Now, this is just pure racecraft. I've always said that you should never look back, because if you look back, you're focusing on what's going behind you. You're all of a sudden in defense mode where you should always look forward. And Jett, he manages the race where he didn't have to push too hard because he was using the tabletop before the single, right before the finish line, as an area where he could just look over to be like, hey, are these guys catching me? Do I need to go a little bit faster? Can I put the hammer down? He's not looking behind him, but he's looking at where the heck Dylan is in AP. I thought that was just showing maturity as a young man who's 19 years old, already dominating the 450 class. This is so grainy, but I still want to show it. You've got Justin Cooper, who's one of these blue blobs here. He's hauling ass into the first corner, and he's getting so close to the edge of the track that he literally jumps off some of the little berms here to jump to the inside. You can see that bike unload just enough, where he's just floating that fine edge. Yes, very subtle, yet these guys are just always pushing it to the envelope, which is why the sport is so cool. But man, it's devastating when these guys make a mistake. The sketchiest off camber on the track, you've got Hunter Lawrence just going like a trials rider, where he's just using the front brake and just hopping over like this motorcycle is a bicycle. Watch how he drops the front end and just puts that ass end, that rear wheel, right into the rut. Just hops, just beautifully executed. It's off the ground and just lands right into the rut. I thought that was so effing cool and just spectacular. I ended up watching this a few times, just rewind and back and forth, because Hunter doing stuff like this makes me believe he would be a good GNCC rider. Well, guys, that is it. I appreciate everybody that has hung out this long. Make sure you share the video, you like and subscribe. I know a lot of you are doing so. This channel's getting a boost. I sincerely appreciate it. I know my pocketbook does. YouTube's algorithm is weird, so make sure you leave a comment. And like I said, you share this sucker. So, till next time, keep it WFO. Ba-ra-da-da-da.